And again, we have for 5 minutes for the Conservatives, Jamil Jivani.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Bibic, let's talk, shall we? In recent years, several of Bell Media's female employees have left your company amid accusations of discrimination. Patricia Jaggernoth left CP24 claiming she was being tokenized as a black woman. Danielle Graham left CTV eTalk, claiming that it was in part due to sexism. And of course, we've seen multiple media reports suggesting that Lisa LaFlamme was pushed out of CTV News due to ageism. Now, of course, Bell celebrates its supposed commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. It is all over your website, Mr. Bibic. But I am curious to know if you can clarify to Canadians, should Canadians be concerned about a pattern of deplorable employment practices at Bell Media?
So we thank you for the question. The issue that's being surfaced is very, very important, and we do take it very seriously. I'm very proud of the talented group of diverse journalists that we have across the country, and the job reductions were kind of difficult and unfortunate. I mean, a smaller number of the broader number affected Bell Media directly, but we have the same percentage now as before of diverse journalists, and we have a lot of phenomenal accomplishments and success stories like Sandy Ronaldo, who celebrated 50 years on air. TSN would be a great example. We have incredibly talented women broadcasters, and we were the first to have an all-women NBA broadcast, for example. And if you take the broader Bell, if you look at kind of the CEO and the direct reports, that's me, and the people who directly report to me. Before I became CEO, 15% were women. Now it's 30%. And then one level below that, the senior vice president layer of BCE in 2019, 20% were women, and now it's double that. So we take it seriously. There's more work to do, of course.
If I could just suggest,
we got to do more.
It sounds to me like you may be proving some of the allegations correct in your response, given you're engaging in tokenism in your answer. None of this hiring of people based on quotas or percentages, as you seem to be indicating, would necessarily make Bell immune from the allegations made of tokenism, racism, sexism, and ageism. So do you have a response to those concerns, and whether Canadians should be worried that one of the largest media companies in the country has a pattern of deplorable employment practices?
No, I would think it's an issue that we take very seriously. So if there are incidents, we will investigate them and make sure they are addressed. But more broadly, we seek to do better each and every year, and we want to have as diverse a workforce as possible at all levels of the company, men, women, and of course talent and employees from community, Black, Indigenous, and people of color those communities as well. It's a very important issue. Thank you for raising it.
When you laid off 5,000 workers, and if you could not evade it this time, I'd appreciate it. When you laid off 5,000 workers, what percentage of them were Black or Indigenous?
I don't have these specific numbers at my fingertips, but we could file that with the clerk.
Yeah, that would be great if you could file that, because I'd be curious to know what role diversity, equity, and inclusion policies play when deciding to fire 5,000 Canadian workers. For example, do you have separate Zoom calls for the Black workers and the white workers, or how do you approach that?
Well, so what are you referring to, again, the employees who form part, the unionized, non-management unionized employees, or the management groups? Because the management groups would have had individual.
I'm talking in total.
Those in management would have had individual meetings.
You've given us a word salad so far about how important DEI is to your company, and yet it doesn't seem that you thought about DEI when firing 5,000 Canadian workers. So I'd like some clarity on the role DEI plays when firing 5,000 people.
Madam Chair, I'm not sure why the honourable member phrase the question in that manner. I did indicate that as it relates to Bell Media, we have the same percentage now of diverse journalists as we did prior to the restructuring. And as it relates to how we communicate with employees, they were individual meetings, and there was a separate process with respect to the unionized employees that we discussed in advance with Unifor, the union in question, who fully endorsed the process that we adopted, which I'm happy to go into if we have the time. But
no, you don't. Actually, this time has now got 1 second left.